Alright, guys. So today, for the Feral Druid Guide, we're going to go over talents, gearing, gemming, rotation, stats, burst opener, and whatever else we think of on the way, guys. First, let's start with talents. First, Feral Druid, guys. It's a cat. And how you do damage as a feral is you bleed and you bite and you stun. And sometimes you cyclone, okay? Here are our talents, okay? These are talents. Usually 99% of the time you go wild charge. There can be some kinky stuff where you go displacer, but 99% of the time you go wild charge. I would say about 85% of the time, maybe 90% of the time, potentially even 95% of the time, you go Cenarian Ward. Ysera's Gift, I only use this when I play with another Resto Druid, which is weird, but like Resto Druids are overpowered in Mist of Pandaria. So sometimes both Resto Druids going Ysera's is pretty good. Good maybe versus like LSD and stuff like that. Stuff where you're just constantly rotting is pretty good verse. But majority of the time you're gonna go Send Ward unless you're just fighting some Warlock rot shit. Excuse me. Third talent tree, 45 talent. I go Typhoon 99% of the time. I've never swapped this. I love Typhoon. Typhoon is a great ability that can be used to displace an enemy's position, which can be actually really good. It can be like a really good CC if you Typhoon someone off Dalrand's or Blade's Edge. You Typhoon them off. You basically CC them for like 5+ seconds, or you can potentially win the game with a good knock. Knock someone out of line of sight. Knock is just insanely. It's got so many uses on it. You can even interrupt spellcasts with it. It's so good. Mass Entangle could be good for like BM hunters and stuff like that. I've never gone Fairy Swarm. Pretty much Typhoon. This is the controversial talent tree, guys. The 60 talent tree. We have Soul of the Forest, Incarnation, and Force of Nature, okay? Soul of the Forest basically gives you a lot of energy after you use a finisher. So basically, if you maim someone, you're going to get a lot of energy back. If you bite someone, you're going to get a lot of energy back to keep doing what you got to do. I actually like Soul of the Forest a lot. Probably my favorite talent here, to be fair. It feels really good. When you play Soul of Force, it feels really good. Incarnation. Everyone pretty much knows Incarn. You become an Omega Cat for 30 seconds, and you can use your stealth ability. So when you're Incarned, you'll be spamming Ravage, and you can also pounce people. This is obviously really good when you pair it with Berserk, because you can't. Berserk and Incarn are two separate things. So like I'll show you, if I press Incarn, I can still press Berserk, and Berserk only lasts 15 seconds. So you can do some really weird stuff with this. You can hit Incarn first and then Berserk later, or you can just hit Berserk at the same time. Usually I find the best play is actually just to hit them at the same time. You can mindfuck some people by pressing Incarn. They'll pop a cooldown maybe, and then you can Berserk later on. But it feels the best when you just press them both and just start ravaging and fucking. It's a really powerful cooldown. The problem with it is a lot of people trade cooldowns for it, so sometimes it doesn't get as much done as it should or it can. But I think this is a really good talent in general. You can also use it for like if you're fighting rogue mage to spam stun people in the opener, or something that you need to spam stun, because you can use pounce during this. And unfortunately, Ravage takes a lot of energy, so you can't really spam damage with it unless you have Berserk up, so that's why you can like kind of fake it, but for the most part you just kind of press them at the same time. So I go this probably like 33-40% of the time, and lately I've been going a lot of Soul of the Forest. Now here's your EU PsyOp, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of people, a lot of Feral Druids, a lot of people in general will tell you to go Force of Nature. All right, a little lore of Force of Nature. Force of Nature used to be insanely overpowered. It's 3 stacks of treants, and they used to stun 3 seconds, 1.5. It would DR itself. I don't think it DR'd with anything. This got nerfed like 2 patches ago into where they only root. Now we have some disrespectful Feral Druids who just didn't play Mist of Pandaria or something, who use this talent still. And let me tell you, as a real Feral Druid, you never use treants after they got nerfed. It's disrespectful. It's disrespectful to the culture of Feral Druid, and it's actually disgusting. There's a lot of EU cope about this, about it's being it's insane damage or something like that. Please, go for it if you want to be a tool. Absolutely go for it. But I'm telling you, this shit is dog ass. Right? Never in my life have I ever been in arena. I'm like, oh, dude, this guy triple treanted me, dude. Oh, I'm dying. All right, it's fake. It's fake. I don't care what you say. Go for it. Play it. But I've never played this shit. It's dog shit. Now, one thing I do think it's good for CC. Like if you're using it, if you're training a healer and you're rooting a warrior with it and shit like that, yeah, it's actually really good. CC wise, I think it's really good, but majority of people for some reason are using this for DPS, which is insane cope in my opinion. But please go for it if you'd like to. That is just, it's disrespectful to the Mists of Pandaria Feral Druids in general, especially after the nerf. It's crazy. Anyway, next talent tree. 75 talent tree, we have Disorienting Aurora, Ursul's Vortex, and Mighty Bash. 99% of the time you go Mighty Bash here. Disorienting Aurora is really good for like Resto Druids, because when you go Rest Druid out of line of sight, the Disorienting Aurora and Clone you or whatever, it could be good as Feral too. It's actually a really good ability. But the problem is that like DRs like scatter and stuff, and usually you want to be playing with a Hunter or Mage or something like that. So I could see as Kitty Cleave, if you're playing Kitty Cleave, this could be really good. I could totally see that. But yeah, 99% of the time I go Bash because I really just play jungle right now. In this last talent tree, I would say 99% of the time you go Heart of the Wild because Heart of the Wild is insanely OP, especially paired up with Send Ward. You can Heart of the Wild Send Ward to basically heal someone to 100%. It is wild. It also gives you 6% natural stats throughout the whole thing. So I tried Nature's Vigil. I thought Nature's Vigil was like an AoE heal, like where when you do damage, it would heal your whole party, but it's actually like a smart heal where it'll heal you until you're topped, and then it'll heal someone after that. I think it's kind of dog shit. You lose 6% stats overall. I went this a couple times, and I just didn't like it. Just didn't feel good. Dream Scenario is a PvE thing. I mean, you could do this in 2v2. I could see in 2v2 somewhere like a slower game. It could be better. It basically increases your it's like ghetto Blood Talons. So, yeah. I never go this. 99% I go Heart of the Wild. Even if I'm playing Uceras, I go Heart of the Wild because you can still Heart of the Wild Rejuvenation and all that. All right, those are your talents. Oh, actually, let me go over Glyphs. So Glyphs, recently I've actually changed a certain one. 99% of the time, Barksian. 99% of the time, Savagery. Okay, these are your, like, these are so comfortable. Savagery just lets you use Savage Roar with 0 common points. Basically lets you have a really strong opener because you open with Savage Roar, and then you can just do your full damage rotation and just bang. Glyph of Barkskin, I mean, you could get rid of this sometimes if you know they're not going you, but obviously this is like a pretty strong Glyph because it just makes you tankier. There's another thing, Glyph of Cat Form, 20% healing while in Cat Form. This is really good if you're getting trained. Or if you know you're going to get trained. I used to go this a lot, but recently we've been using Glyph of Phase Silence, and I find this insanely overpowered. In some, it is insanely good. Basically, when you go Bear Form and use Fairy Fire, it silences for 3 seconds. It's insanely good for mages. It's insanely good for training healers. People don't expect it. It's kind of weird to get used to because it does make Fairy Fire a 15-second cooldown. So it can be weird, like keeping Fairy Fire on rogues or something like that. But this Glyph is insanely clutch. So I would definitely recommend trying to get good with this Glyph. But yeah, sometimes when you get trained, you just got to go Glyph of Cat Form, and then when you realize they're not going to train you anymore or something, if you live and kite long enough, and they can't kill you, next game you can try Glyph of Fae, blah blah blah. All right, those are your talents. Let's go with gearing and gemming, ladies and gentlemen. All right, gearing and gemming. So your stats for Feral Druid PvP. You want to go mastery. Well, you want to go agility first, and then mastery, and then crit. The rest of the stats don't really matter. Yeah, that's it. You want to go mastery and crit. Those are your two main stats. Gemming is the same way. So a lot of people on beta were telling me to gem mastery. Well, we did some research into that a couple days ago or a week ago, and we found out that gemming mastery is retarded. And you should not gem mastery. Agility is just more valuable. And so you want to gem agility. And mastery as much as you can. So I have a lot of half agility, half mastery gems and straight agility gems. And for my blues, I don't know what the best blues are. I just go 80 and 80 PvP power. I didn't do research on PvP power. I'm not sure exactly how it works, but there might be a better blue. But actually, I do have some plus hit blue for casual. The blues suck. The blues suck ass. But yeah. You want to get hit capped and you want to get expertise capped. Some people get 6% expertise. Because apparently you need 5% for Night Elves. Should I? Sure. But, I've had one bash dodge in, a couple hundred games on a Night Elf. I mean, should I? Sure. But am I? No. You know what I mean? I'm getting that more mastery instead of that. Yeah, those are your gems. Basically, agility and mastery gems. And honestly, if you can get the hit from the blue gems, go for it because blue gems are kind of ass. All right, now let's go show you guys the rotation. So the rotation of Feral Druid is basically you want to keep up bleeds, okay? And so this is my UI. So I'll explain my UI and why I have it like this. So these I have up here because these are basically when I know I'm going to do a lot of damage. Also, these trinkets over here. So there's a lot of snapshotting on Feral Druids. And what snapshotting is like when you get a trinket proc, it'll give you like 3,000 agility. And so when you put up a bleed with a trinket proc up, it snapshots the agility, which means it keeps the damage, the extra damage you had from this proc. It keeps it on your bleeds, because the more agility you have, the harder your bleeds hit. The more mastery you have, the harder your bleeds hit. And so even when this has 1 second on it, if you get a bleed up, that bleed is going to carry over that extra damage the whole time. And so there's a lot of things. There's a cape enchant from tailoring that you can get that gives you like 4,000 attack power. There's a weapon that can proc. Well, right now I don't have the right enchant because it's not out yet. But Windsong can proc a mastery plus mastery. The trinket can proc agility, and then your on use procs agility, or it doesn't proc agility, but your on use, aka my gloves from engineering, or you can go on use trinket. But gloves from engineering share cooldown with trinket, so I go engineering for gloves. Also give you thing. So the main thing you want to do on Feral Druid is you want to try to snapshot all your bleeds. So if you attack a thing, you see how you get a proc here. This is a crit, so it doesn't really matter. But you see this is the cape proc, and you see these lighten up. So you just kind of want, you try to want to get all your procs, and here we go. And so now you would use your on use with this and this proc, and you would have Savage Roar up. I don't have it right now. But when you have all those up, that's when you would want to put bleeds up. And when you proc all those, because those would carry over the entire duration, and those would be your biggest damage per second. That's how you do. That's how you know when you have bean bleeds or big bleeds, is when you get this proc, the cape, a weapon proc, which should be there's an agility weapon enchant. I can't remember it right now. It's Dancing Steel. You should have Dancing Steel, which will proc agility, which will replace this one, and then your trinket proc, and then you use your on use, and you use Tiger's Fury, and that is how you get bean bleeds. All right, you wait for all that to proc. Usually they proc in the opener, and you just get fatty fucking bleeds. Okay, so I'll let these come off cooldown. I'll show you like a casual opener with a bleed rotation. Hopefully we get all the procs. Sometimes you can get unlucky and don't get a proc. It's not the biggest deal. All right, so everything's off cooldown. So this is how you do like it. Most of my openers, I would say I probably do like this. I'd say like probably like 70% of my openers are usually somewhat around this. Like they're pretty much trying to get big bleeds up. There's some openers that I'll show you that like you want to bite and just try to scare people. But yeah, so you basically, if you're opening on an arena guy, you would stealth. You'd come over here. And you'd hope that you get all your stuff here. There we go. We got all of it up. And then you got big bean bleeds before your Tiger Fury goes off. And those are pretty much the biggest bleeds you can ever get. And obviously we're Incarn and Berserk right now. So during that, we'd still be like ravaging and fucking with the bleeds ticking. And that's a pretty standard opener. You would pounce. You would have Savage Roar up, you'd pounce, you'd ravage, you'd get your common points, you'd press Tiger Fury, and you'd really hope all these proc, use your on use, and then put up bleeds. So there's a couple other openers you can do. Obviously, you're not going to have Incarn all the time, so sometimes if you have Incarn, you ravage. If you don't have Incarn, you're going to be shredding or mangling. The shred and mangle, they're pretty close damage. If you have a bleed up, your shred does like 5,000 more damage, so it is a little bit more worth to hit shred. But getting mangle just for combo points isn't the worst thing in the world. But yeah, ideally you'd want to shred, or if you can ravage, you ravage. So yeah, like a burst opener would be something like this. It would be kind of similar, but instead of putting up your bleeds, you would want all procs, and then you'd want to bite. I don't have Berserk right now, so I'm not going to have a lot of energy. The more energy you have, the more damage your bite will do. But basically, if you just want to scare someone in the opener, if you think you can just instantly kill them and you don't want to put up bleeds, or if you're going to swap instantly, you would do something like this. You would open up, you got all your procs, and you get all your damage up, and you're just a big bite right there with Tiger Fury and all these procs up. Obviously, we didn't proc Trinket, which is just kind of unlucky. But I mean, that would be like a burst storm. I don't do that often. That's like pretty rare. That's like basically if you're fighting a Resto Druid team and you can't open on them yet, and so you have to open on one of the first targets, and you kind of just want to either global them because you're just going to go to the Druid or something like that. It's something you don't do often. A lot of times you want to do the first one where you just get your full bleeds up and you restun and you just start try fucking. And that's basically the rotation. The main thing is just trying to snapshot your bleeds. Like knowing how to get good full bleeds, big bleeds, getting this Weakauras. I'll link all the Weakauras down below in the video. just making sure you get these procs before you put up a big rip, making sure you Tiger Tree that rip. Sometimes you can, once you get better, you can understand that, like, maybe he's not going to die from these bleeds, and you save Tiger Tree for bite. There's a bunch of, like, niche stuff that you can do once you get used to it, but the main thing about Feral Druid is getting all your procs and your on use and your Tiger Tree and putting big bleeds up. That's how you do damage. Also, there's one thing as well that I just want to mention real quick. There's an ability called Symbiosis. All right, this is what makes Feral Druids really hot sometimes. Symbiosis, basically, you give an ability to a teammate and you get an ability from a teammate. This is why a majority of Feral Druids play with a priest or even a paladin, is because when you give this to a priest, you get Dispersion and your priest gets Cyclone. That's why Priest Feral usually play together a lot, because the Priest gets Cyclone and you get Dispersion. Insane ability. Comps for Feral Druids, guys, is Jungle. It's Hunter and Feral Druid. You can play with any healer. Priest, usually it's Priest, but you can play with Priest, Paladin, Mistweaver, Shaman, even Resto Druid. Insane comp. It's always been good in Wrath, in Retail. It's always just a good comp. I don't even know why, but it's always just really good. Usually as Jungle Cleave, we run at healers, like, I'd say like 80% of the time, we just run at healers and just try to spam CC the DPS, and it works out pretty good. If you ever want to check out any of my VODs, we've been playing a lot of jungle lately. Other comps in jungle, I think all the other comps are a little bit worse, but they can be good. Is Kitty Cleave, Feral Druid, and Warrior together? It's just I haven't played much of it, but I'm assuming you just run at healers. It does feel the best as a Feral Druid in general to run at healers, because your damage isn't like, it just feels the best to kill healers, because it feels like when you're not killing healers and there's a Resto Druid on the other team, you actually just don't do any damage because they press Rejuvenation, and you just don't do any damage. It feels like you don't do it feels like you don't do anything if you don't go healer a lot of the time. So Kitty Cleave, I'm assuming you go healer, but that's Feral and Warrior. I've seen it played with a Mistweaver. I haven't really seen it played with any other healers, but I think you totally can play with a Resto Druid for sure. Maybe a Priest. I'm not sure. Other comps, FMP, Feral Mage, is a really good comp. But the problem with Feral Mage is usually Resto Druids kind of cuck Feral Mage, because Resto Druids are really hard to be CC'd. Resto Druids are the most OP class in the game forever, because they have HOTS, and they basically are insanely hard to CC. So Feral Mage is really good if you don't fight Resto Druids. Really, really, really strong if you don't fight Resto Druids. I think even if you do fight Resto Druids, it can be really strong, but you have to struggle a lot to get kills, because good Resto Druids will make it really hard to CC, and sometimes they just have 3 life blooms on the target when you CC, and it's just, you have to try a lot harder to get wins. It's a lot more like energy depleting to play FMP into Resto Druids than like jungle or something, or jungle or kitty. Other than that, there's comps I haven't tried that I could see are pretty good. Like Feral Warlock, I feel like could be pretty good. They have 2 different sets of DRs, Fear and Cyclone don't DR. I could see Feral Warlock being good. I could see FPS, so Feral Shadow Priest Shaman, I could see being pretty good. I haven't tried these comps, but I could see them maybe being pretty good. But I'll let you know when I try them.